Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are in fact fearful. One of the most famous quotes in the entirety of the finance world by the one and only Warren Buffett, who we're going to be speaking about today, in particular what he's done over the last quarter, but more so than that, over the last 4 through 6 quarters, because it's been quite weird. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor, and today we're speaking about the one and only baby. So I made a video recently speaking about why I'm not really buying many stocks. I am still buying some bits and pieces here and there, and there was quite a few people interested. I got more direct messages through Discord and Instagram than usual from people wondering, why? Because although valuations are very high, there's not necessarily extraordinarily clear-cut signs as to a market crash or a market correction of 5 to 10% or anything of the sorts. And my point in that video wasn't to make out that there was. I'm not trying to spread any FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, anything of the sorts. I'm just trying to give information, because a lot of the time on YouTube, we don't get that kind of information. So all we're going to do today is pretty much go through what Berkshire Hathaway did in the last quarter, okay? Any of their buys, any of their sells, some interesting trends that we may well see. We'll take a look at the fact that they were actually net sellers, but in particular, some of the companies they were selling, healthcare. What kind of businesses Warren Buffett says do best during periods of high inflation, because this is one of the focal points of my last video personally. What will it take to get Warren Buffett to buy stocks again? And Berkshire Hathaway's huge cash pile that has only been getting bigger and bigger and bigger for more than a year now. Keep in mind, guys, from the bottoms of the March crash, the S&P 500 is up nearly 100%, and Warren Buffett still has been a net seller for the majority of the last year, okay? So why? It seems pretty crazy. So just before we speak about all of that, could I please ask you to hit that juicy like button, my friends? It really does help me out a lot. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know, what are you doing right now? I mean, are you buying up everything, or are you getting a little bit more cash heavy? I genuinely am interested. And please, my friend, if you are indeed new around here, hit that juicy red subscribe button. Join the family of investors. So Buffett's Berkshire still isn't buying. Here's what it sold. So you can go ahead and look through the entirety of their 13F. You can see the changes in shares. You can see every company here. You can see the percentage of the portfolio. You can have a look at it in really annoying ways right here if you feel like doing so. A lot of us have been waiting to see what Berkshire Hathaway, what Warren Buffett is going to buy soon, because they're so cash heavy. Pretty much $140 billion of cash, most of which is tied up in short-term investments in US Treasury bills. So they were net sellers in the end of about $1 billion worth of stocks in the period. Some of the sells of note, you will see 7 million shares, a 10% stake change in General Motors. A very interesting one. One that he has been behind a long time, but has been selling pretty much quarterly for a while now. A very small sell in Chevron, but again, he recently sold off an awful lot of his position in this over the last couple of quarters. His biggest buy of the quarter was Kroger. Again, fairly standard stuff. Another 10% sell in a healthcare stock being AbbVie. 15% trim in Bristol Myers. A 50% sell in Merck & Co. And you will see there's a few more sells here. They're the main bits and pieces. But simply put, I don't have anything incredibly exciting to tell you here, and that is what we actually need to think about. The fact that still there is nothing exciting happening here. The most exciting thing Berkshire Hathaway has done for a year and a half now is sell airline stocks, and we know that didn't work out very well for them. Since early 2019, they've been a net seller, okay, of about $13.6 billion in stocks. Now you will see, if we go back and look at all of their most recent reported 13Fs, their value has been going up massively. Look at this. Back here, the 15th of the 5th, this was after the March crash. Reported value at 175 billion. Look now, approaching 300 billion while being net seller of 13 billion of stocks. It shows how crazy things have been over the last while. And despite this selling, despite this trimming, the value just keeps going up. If you go back in time, just to 2013, 2014, these guys were sub 100 billion. Also, the fact we have seen Warren Buffett / Berkshire Hathaway open up positions and close them or trim out, like with Merck & Co. in a very short time period, it's different. He's not showing a lot of patience with some of the newer equity holdings, which has surprised some Berkshire watchers who recall that his oft-stated favorite holding period is forever. And I think everybody knows that. One of the first things you'll find out when you start looking into investing is this, he's a long-term holder. But we've seen him selling out of newer positions a lot more frequently. Now, I think what's important to remember, guys, as well, is that we're not Warren Buffett. We're not Berkshire Hathaway. We don't have hundreds of billions worth of cash. They can only invest in very specific companies. It has to be very large companies. There's no point in them investing in a startup or something with a $10 billion market cap. It doesn't make a lot of sense for them. He eliminated one sizable holdings in JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs last year at significantly below current prices, and has virtually eliminated a formerly large stake in Wells Fargo. It's been weird, and I don't see as many people on YouTube speaking about Warren Buffett anymore. Maybe there is and I just don't see the videos, but this was a big thing people were following, particularly Q2, Q3 last year. Maybe they're just not, because not a lot's changed still, and Warren Buffett's going against a lot of what he said in the past. But he also said at the annual meeting in May that he was ready to invest. But one very, very important sentence that I want you guys to walk away from this video with, when he's speaking about he wants to invest 70, 80 billion. We won't get a chance to do it under these conditions, but conditions change very, very, very rapidly sometimes in markets. And again, let's go back to March of last year. Let's go back to the 6-7% days in actual indexes. Let's go back to that craziness. It can all happen in a few days. Sometimes you'll have to wait months, or you'll have to wait years in order to, witness them. But sometimes that patience can pay off. One more thing I'd like to personally point out is from this article here. Warren Buffett says these businesses do the best during periods of high inflation. And on this channel, we're primarily growth investors. We're not dividend. We're not particularly value. We do look at those metrics as well to an extent, but there's some similarities to take away here, because during periods of high inflation, it's more difficult for new companies to grow. Warren Buffett says a brand is a wonderful thing to own during inflation. Apple, the biggest brand in the world, 42.5% of the portfolio. Coca-Cola, their fourth biggest position at 7.2% of the portfolio. Those two companies, two of the biggest, most well-known household names, biggest brands in the world, take up 50% of the entirety of Berkshire Hathaway. Established brand names, more defensive investments. That's why you're not going to see him trimming these positions or selling these positions, even if the valuations get a little bit high, as you could argue they've done for Apple and even Coca-Cola at this stage. Coca-Cola is trading at a PE ratio of 30, which traditionally obviously is very high, but when you look at the average PE ratio of the S&P 500 now being at about 34, it's not even that silly when it's relative to other companies, and they more than likely will continue to outperform. So is it shocking what Warren Buffett is doing? In a way, yes. He has all of this cash. Surely Warren Buffett and his team can find some deals. But in a way, no. Look at the markets. A lot of the company where there is value to be had are the smaller market caps, and they don't have the capacity to invest in them. But anyway, my friends, that's just a quick little video on what I'm seeing with Warren Buffett with Berkshire Hathaway. It's worth keeping up to date with these. I'm more than likely going to do this for a few other people as well. ARK Invest being an obvious one, but some other people that, we don't speak about as much on YouTube. So that is all to come. But anyway, guys, if you watch this video all the way till the end, you are a true legend, and I really do appreciate you being here. From the bottom of my heart, your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed the video, could I please ask you to hit that juicy like button, drop me that comment down below, and please, my friends, subscribe if you're new around here. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a beautiful, blessed day. I'll see you in another video very soon. Peace.